and the terrifiedness resettles in.
It'll be fine, don't worry.
Uh, Alrighty, I'm going to copy paste, or not copy paste, but I'm going to. Come on. I'm going to get a link for it so that way I can post it in the groups I'm a part of.
I need to silence my phone.
Yeah, that would actually that's a good idea.
That would,
Everyone,
yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm kind of on my phone, so
I mean, I am too, but I'm just looking for something.
Okay, phone is silenced.
Mine's always silent.
Yeah, I put myself
Fuck
on
me.
GN, like, do not disturb. So I don't get any notification.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got a custom do not disturb thing on my phone.
if I end up getting a call, I usually put myself on mute.
Yeah. All right. But yes, we are here on a different day of the week with a new campaign, mostly new players. There's 3 players from the Thursday game, but we have 2 new players joining us and a new DM.
You can do this. You can do this. You can do this.
You've got this, dude.
I believe in you, Nate. You can do this. Just don't think about it.
We believe.
Okay, but unlike on the Thursday game, at least this first session, we're only going to be introducing ourselves as players first, and you'll just get to meet our characters as we are introduced into the game itself. So, as per normal, we are going to go players in alphabetical order with the DM going last, and according to the voice chat, that's me, so y'all already know me, I am Danny Boop.
I'm Jack. Hi. What's cracking?
I go for. Sorry, alphabet escapes me at the moment. But formerly Miss Candy. I am now. You can still call me Andy though.
I'm small lizard. That's just what I'm called, but yeah.
He's asleep.
And I am Z or Ash or Jim. Apparently I have a lot of names. But you all know me also from the Thursday game.
Hi, I am the man of many voices, and am slightly terrified, but we're gonna do this. I am Night Hunter. That is I. That is me. I do the things. But yeah, I am the DM. Is that all you had then for introductions, Dan?
I believe that should suffice just for introducing the players. So just, I guess, whenever you're ready for us to properly be introduced to this world, Knight, take us away.
Alrighty. Okay. Alright. It has been 30 years since the fall of the city of Telera, and the whole continent of Venestra has felt the blow, both economically and morally. The trade that the city and its outlying settlements had once provided to its allies in neighboring lands, which was once bountiful, has now dried up and has become a dwindling shadow of its former strength. The trade routes that were once alive with stones, lumbers, weapons of both magical and non-magical descript have now become almost abandoned, as merchants who once called that city home in place of business have fallen victim to the Red Moon, an army that was once only a rumor, but with their strike on the city successful, cementing their place as legend. This army was comprised of a plethora of races: drow, gnolls, humans, dwarves, and elves, as well as Goliaths and giants. These were only a few of the races that were prevalent during the sacking of the city. Many of these soldiers were mercenaries and cutthroats, who are now looking for open employ among many other kingdoms and city-states. But in our story, we look to a land that finds itself in the midst of changing ideals. The kingdom of the Burning Forest, that was once seclusive and secretive, has now begun to open its gates to refugees and mercenaries willing to lend their aid in securing the borders of their lands as a means of extra protection against incoming threats. These mercenaries have been a key part in clearing out the creatures and brigands that the city of Telera was once able to handle on its own. The Burning Forest has begun assigning certain taverns and businesses as gathering places for these folk who come seeking fortune and glory. And now, we delve down to one such tavern, where the weavings of fate begin to intersect, for better or worse. So, we open up on a small tavern, just within the inner gates of the Burning Forest. And here we come across two wandering souls. Andy and Small, would you like to introduce your characters, please?
I'll let Small go first.
No,
Since
Andy,
you're the new one.
no,
You're the
Andy.
new one.
No, because I don't know how to do this.
Alright, so... how would you like me to introduce her, or...
Introduce your character however you wish.
Sitting kind of lazily in the corner of this tavern in a room, having claimed a table mostly to herself, is a blue-skinned female tiefling with dark black hair and very piercing green eyes. A hawk, sort of almost lazily perched on her shoulder as she seems to be just occasionally pulling cards out of a deck, looking at them, and then putting them into a separate pile, mumbling to herself about what will happen and other things of the like.
Alrighty. And then Small.
I don't know if Tor should be sitting with Narcissa since they already met, so I'm just gonna roll with that.
Okay, go with that.
Sitting across from this blue-skinned tiefling was a small dwarf, albino, bright blonde hair and pale skin, a slightly flushed face, icy blue eyes. His name was Torgrim, hailing from the Grey Plains of a mighty family who was the first to settle there. Should I add more?
No, that's good. As you two are sitting down with your a little bit of food, whatever drink you have left, a new face seems to enter the not so busy tavern. Very easy for you to pick out. Danny, would you like to introduce your character, please?
Absolutely. Well, Miki would walk in, and you might not see her at first because she is all of 3 feet tall.
Yes.
But when you see her, she is very noticeable, for she is a Salwet Owl Kinku. And she's dressed in gray monk robes with a quarterstaff on her back that, if you look at it close enough, you can see the signatures of... you can see 3 different signatures on it. And she's just looking around all bright-eyed, and if an owl can be bushy-tailed, she is bushy-tailed, and she's like... Yes! People's stories! Because she is very much one to collect stories.
again.
My character's probably just off in a different part of the tavern, sat by him, possibly by himself. It's easy to spot Oleg. He is, well, his hair for a start is cut into a mohawk style, but at the front is sort of curled up and back, almost a little bit like if like a almost like a rooster tail, and then it goes back and down to join the rest of his hair, which flows down to a little bit down past halfway down his back. He's dressed in dark leather. He's very tanned. He's obviously seen a lot of sun. And he is very heavily scarred as well. Just all, what you would assume is all over his body is scars. Many different shapes and sizes. Puncture wounds, stab wounds, slashing wounds, all of that sort of thing. He's also tattooed. On his left wrist is a very basic tattoo of a spider. Literally, like the sort of thing you would expect from a little child to draw, like an oval and 8 legs, all in dark blue ink. On his right arm is more of a Celtic knot tattoo that sort of spirals up his arm. And next to him is what looks like a very finely carved ebony staff with long ivory caps at either end. He's just sort of sat in the corner, watching everyone else.
Oleg, you notice the small... It takes a moment, but you notice the small owl Kenku enter into the tavern. When you see the door open, you almost expect someone to be standing in place of where the door had opened up. However, you look down ever so slightly and you see the top of her head as she makes her way inside. Narcissa and Torgrim, you both see the small bird enter into the tavern as well.
Narcissa will pause for a moment, holding up a card and just kind of gently tapping Torgrim on the nose and kind of pointing at the Kenku.
Torum will blink in a little bit after being tapped on the nose, but look over at the direction she was pointing at and notice the Kenku. Oh, finally, someone smaller than I am.
Such a small thing. I've not seen one that small before.
While you two are oh, sorry.
I was just saying, Miki's just looking around, just like, she's just very excited.
And while you two are beginning to notice the small Kenku, Annabelle, if you would like to introduce yourself to us as you come walking down the stairs from your room to the tavern.
Well, alright, hon.
Oh, I love her.
Well, honestly, Annabelle's a bit of a unassuming character, dressed in fairly drab browns and tans. She's got a long skirt on, some high-heeled boots, more or less. Not high-heeled, I meant to say, like, boots that almost come up to her knees. Work boots, really. She's got a bag strapped on her side that looks a bit interesting, but it's still a little bit unassuming. Just mostly everything about her is kind of unassuming. She's got a bit of a mess of curly, tangled hair on her head, dark brown. Honestly, the most notable thing about her is a trademark smile she seems to keep on her face, and a piercing light green eye that you can see from underneath her hair. But she's just sort of walking down, occasionally taking a bite out of a loaf of bread she bought earlier. And just in general, keeping an eye on things. She's still pretty new here after all.
So, if people are wanting to do things, anything specific while in this tavern, I would ask that you just make a straight d20 roll, so I know who to go to first for
Alright.
things they would like
Alrighty.
to do whilst in the tavern.
I'll give you 1 moment. Actually, scroll down to see what I got because Roll20 likes to put me all the way up at the top.
18.
Oh,
She's not super fast to act.
no, small. You can do this.
I'm apparently not the fastest either, but that's okay.
So we have nurses. We have Oleg. Were you going to do anything, or are you just watching? Currently?
He's probably just gonna watch. Like, literally, the only thing he'd do is go get a refill on his water.
Alrighty. So, Mickey, since you got the highest roll, we will start with you. What would you like to do while you have entered into this tavern?
Probably first thing Mickey would do upon entering is sorry, nervous new character. Who dis?
Me too. Big mood.
New campaign setting. Who dis?
Yeah. But she will first thing walk up to the bar and just say, hello?
Oh, hello there. Sorry, little, not quite height-wise what I was expecting. What can I do for you, lass?
Yeah. Right this second, I just would like to get my water skin refilled.
Ah, right. I'll take that from you. And I imagine you lift up the water skin as high as you can for this man.
Yeah.
He takes it out of your hands, he undoes the top, and then kind of pulls it under a small spout he has. And he refills it, reseals it, and then hands it back down to you.
Thank you.
Not a problem. I imagine you're here after filling out the application, eh? All right. So, I'm pretty sure they told you this out there, but you get 2 meals as well as a night stay and 2 drinks if you'd like. So, if you do require any food, do let me know.
Okay.
So, were you going to have, Mickey, were you going to order any food, or were you going to hold on to those meals for later?
For right this second, she's going to hold on to her free meals and just wonder about, see if she can see anybody who looks like they might have a story that they could tell, and determine if she'll copy that down into her nifty little notebook she got.
Alrighty. I'll have you roll a perception check to see the occupants of this tavern.
Alrighty.
TikTok!
Let's see. Perception. They're all like, okay, there it is.
Oh, wow!
Damn.
Oh,
She can see into the universe.
Them big owl eyes.
I was gonna say, those big owl eyes are serving you well. Oh, Lord. As you begin to kind of look around the tavern, you notice a dwarf and tiefling who have found themselves in a back corner, both area. You also see a half-elven man who is sitting on his lonesome. as well as a woman who is just making her way down the staircase, as well as a couple others. There is a Goliath who is kind of what appears to be serving the food around, and there is also a half-orc man who is playing a bit of music over on the stage, a bit to your left.
Okay, and I'm assuming that just the four initial ones look like they might be adventurers who might have stories to share based on that perception.
As of right now, yes, this tavern is it's busy in the sense that its current crowd is looking like they are very much able to. They would probably have some form of story for you, whereas perhaps the other two, the employees, have possibly come across something interesting at one point in time.
Okay. Well, since it worked so well last time she talked to someone in a tavern, she's going to wait to talk to staff after and talk to one of the people who look a little more traveled first. And let's see. I'll go by alphabetical order and then roll a d4 to determine who I want Miki to talk to.
Very well.
Ah.
Enter.
Okay. Hey, the dice determined it, man.
So, Oleg, as you notice this small owl Kenku enter in after she speaks with the bartender, you see her kind of perusing around, and then she does the owl thing where her head begins to turn 180 degrees and her eyes sit on you. And then her body just turns around with her head staying in place and she gets to walk over to you.
I was gonna describe it that way too, so thank you, Knight.
Shudders a little bit and just, that's fucking creepy. Just under his breath. He's gonna wait till she gets there.
So yeah,
But that's creeped him out a bit.
Eh.
Like Oleg.exe has stopped working.
Sorry.
The joys
No,
of
you're
Owl
not.
Kenku.
No, you're not. You are not sorry, woman.
Alright, so yeah, she walks over.
I mean, as soon as she gets close enough, he's just gonna look down at her and just be like, I didn't think they let children in bars.
You're not the first one I've heard that from.
What can I do for you?
Well, first of all, and she sticks out a very tiny little taloned hand. I'm Miki.
He's gonna, like, stick 2 fingers out, because he realizes that anything else would probably, like, crush her. Just like, I'm Oleg.
And she'll shake the hand by the fingers.
Now that's out of the way. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm actually adventuring to find stories to write down, record for. I'm still getting used to introducing myself for this. I am in training to be a lore keeper at my monastery. And I figured it might better serve that if I actually go out and find new stories instead of, keeping and telling the old same musty ones.
At that point, he's probably gonna, for a second, his facial expression's gonna change, and then he's just gonna go, so you're a historian then? Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Like, she just kind of,
And-
like, tilts her
yeah.
head.
Yeah. He's gonna be like, I don't really have a story to tell. I just kill things for money. That's literally all I do. I'm sorry. I'm a bit of a boring person.
Not even any stories about, like, monsters you might have taken down?
Mm,
Because, like, I talked to this one tiefling about a day and a half ago, and he told me about this thing called a devil toad, and it was very interesting.
mm, I've not really faced one of those. I've heard of them, but not faced one. Mine tend towards the more sort of human-shaped enemies. You know, gnolls, things like that.
Oh, okay.
I've faced many of them over the years, but yeah, just anything humanoid shaped I've fought and generally killed. There are a couple that ran away, but
Like, mentioning of humanoid shaped things, like, her eyes get kind of big, and she goes, "Have you ever fought a bugbear?"
I have never even heard of one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Is it perhaps bear-shaped? I would assume from the name.
no, they're... Like, she pulls out one of her notebooks, not the one that she got, from the very kind stranger in the tavern, but a different one. Just one that she's been writing, basically her diary.
Uh,
And it's got sketches and stuff, and it's a very crude sketch, but she just will flip. It's like, let's see. Like, she flips to the page where she has drawn a crude picture of a bugbear and just shows it to him. This is it. This is a bugbear.
that is fucking terrifying.
I want to fight one.
He's just gonna look at the picture, look at her, look at the picture. Well, I suppose we all need a goal in life. It's definitely a goal to have. And just look confused for a bit, like in his head, why the fuck would you want to fight that willingly? But he's not going to say it out loud. He's going to sit there and just, As all my stories are, yeah. Most of my stories are about fighting. It's all I've done for the past however long I've been alive. My skills are more martial than anything else. You've probably heard more stories than I have. Well, more retellable stories for a monastery, anyway.
Well, when you're the daughter of lore keepers, that is one of the things you hear a lot of, is stories.
All the safe stories, anyway.
Oh no, I've heard some terrifying, not so safe stories, like one about this weird long-legged black creature that it touched an animal and the animal just disappeared.
That is interesting. I did, however, mean more. He's gonna sit there and just be obviously like, how the fuck am I supposed to word this to someone who sounds like a kid? Because he's literally got no idea how old she is. He's still under the impression that she's like 6. Yeah, look, you're fucking tiny, all right?
I know.
He is confused. He has no idea how to react to this. And he's sat there and he's just. I meant well, obviously not knowing how liberal your monastery might be, just stories that might perhaps send some of the older monks into a little bit of a fit, perhaps. Might cause them to have to rearrange themselves.
I'm sure there have been stories like that told, but none that I've actually heard other than the one about the creature.
Well, we wouldn't want to corrupt your innocence.
I'm not... I get that I look and sound like a child, but I'm 20 years old.
He's gonna look down at her and well, still, you've not heard the stories soldiers tell each other on boring nights. I'm just gonna take a sip from his water.
Alright then, well maybe we'll talk later. Thank you for your time
Of
though.
course. My pleasure.
And she'll give like a
Try-
little bow.
I'm
like,
curious. He's sort of gonna half bow back to her over the table. But on curiosity, Danny, her quarterstaff, does it look like a twig?
No. Probably size-wise, it's more
'Cause
like a
all-
shillelagh.
Okay. All I have in my head now is just like this tiny little owl creature with like a long twig, and that's what he uses to smack people around with.
She's small, but not that small.
Okay.
But
He's.
yeah,
Mm,
she'll just walk off and start, like, politely bow and say goodbye and go to talk to somebody else. So if whoever was next on the rolling order wants to go.
think that's me?
Narcissa and Small. Yes, that would be you two. Because you were all very close to each other and you're at the same table.
Yeah, so Narcissa is kind of just kind of been staring at this like little owl kenku for this entire time, and just kind of like measuring up the size of like her hawk compared to this kenku, and it's like, is it possible?
Eloise, fly down and pick her up. Carry her away. Fly away.
But actually, if she would like to, now Andy can't physically do this, but Narcissa would like to whistle over to the little owl kenku for her to like come over.
Torgrim grumbles a bit. He honestly just wants to mind his own business. But okay.
And Narcissa is gonna reach across and pinch cheeks. Are you getting jealous of them making other friends?
No. I just want to mind my business. I don't care about her.
Oh, it does not hurt you to be nice.
I am nice to you.
Okay, so I would guess that Miki would have heard the whistle.
Yes.
And seen
the whistle.
navy blue tiefling waving at you.
And she will walk right on over.
Miki, as you approach the table, you begin to notice that not only is there a navy blue-skinned tiefling woman, there is also a dwarf who looks a bit different as opposed to the other dwarves you've seen. His skin is pale to the point where it's almost white like snow. And his hair
There's
is
also a
light
hawk.
blonde color.
Hello. Oh, and Narcissus is like kind of leaning down, looking at her.
Hi!
You are. Hi, you are quite the curious one.
I've heard that many times, yes.
She'll stick a hand over to the little to the kenku. I'm Narcissa. What's your name?
She also extends her little tiny taloned hand to shake. It's like, I'm Miki.
Oh, such a lovely name.
Well, it's just a nickname, but
Now, what are is someone like you doing in here? In my time here, I've seen people like I've seen people like my friend Torgrim over here, or the one that looks like a rooster over there.
Torgrim
A lot of war.
Torgrim kind of looks over at them. Of course he's tuning into the conversation, but he honestly does not feel like talking to this tiny bird person.
I've seen many a strong warrior, but you are much different.
well, I can't help the size I am.
Oh, I'm not talking about size. You don't look to be a brute fighter. There's something very different about you.
Torgrim kind of pipes in. You got the problem with brute fighters?
No, I never said that.
I don't have a problem with
you-
brute fighters either. I mean, one of my best friends is a cloud giant.
Really now?
What?
I just like the simultaneous head turn of everyone in the bar.
Like you hear Oleg, fucking what?
Like she just looks over at him if she heard him say what and just shrugs like, cloud giants are out in my monastery. One of them's my best friend. Well, one of my best friends, anyway.
He just rubs his forehead. He's just gonna keep looking down. Just what the fuck?
I think you actually managed to confuse him.
I do that a lot. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about my dog.
It's okay.
No, don't worry about it.
I thought, since you are new in here, I thought I'd offer you something very fun to get to know. At least have some allies in a tavern full of people who might want to stab you in the back.
Well, I can take care of myself, but thank you. Yeah, sure.
And you, Narcissa, will gather up the deck of cards that the deck of cards that she has and starts to shuffle them. Now, Mikey, how much do you believe in fate?
I'm not quite sure, honestly.
How about you test fate in a simple way?
Okay.
I imagine you are reaching for the cards.
Oh no, I think... Andy!
Andy.
Rip.
Oh, did we lose Andy?
I think so. Oh no.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
No.
Oh,
Oh no. She's dead.
Technical difficulty, folks. Sorry. It'll be about a second.
Sorry,
Thanks for
I'm
jewelry.
sorry, guys. For some reason, my internet literally just shut out.
Andy, are you okay?
One second I'm talking to Danny, and next second everything just goes quiet.
It's okay.
Where did I leave off?
You left off with
How
pulling
about you
out
test
the
fate in a
cards.
smaller way?
Yeah.
And this is a deck of tarot cards. Pick one, and I can tell you your fortune.
Oh, okay. I guess she'll pull out a random card.
Yeah, I have a list of cards. Night, Foray.
How many do you have? How many cards are there? Because I'll just
24.
Shit, it's all back.
At least the major arcana.
So, for the sake of ease, I'll just have you roll a 1d20, Danny.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say, I already have a card picked out for her, though.
Oh, if you do, then great, go for it.
Yeah! I was gonna say, don't worry about it. So, the card that, Mikey pull, I'm sorry with, like, mispronunciations of names. It's first session. So, the card that she pulls is, an eagle-headed figure, standing in front of a sun, holding, what looks to be a, their hands in a cup motion with, water in it. And on the bottom it just says the sun. You chose well. This is the sun. The sun shines brightly on your path, illuminating what may but seemed lost in the darkness of night. Rejoice in the new hope of rejoice in the hope of a new day. Nothing can stop you now. Success is in your future.
She smiles as much as a owl can smile, and just like, that's good to know.
It is. Would you like to meet another bird?
Like a kinku or a bird?
I will just kind of whistle a bit and hold out my arm for my bird friend. Or at least just more so my hand so I can let her onto the...
As you do so, you see a hawk, Mickey, kind of trot down this blue tiefling's arm. It kind of just does this little walk onto the table and kind of hops a little bit towards you.
Oh my goodness!
And it
Is
kind of
this...
tilts its head to the left and goes, and it kind of hops and then flutters up and lands right on top of your head.
Like, she just got, like, the biggest owl smile on her face, eyes wide, just kind of trying to look up as much as she can.
This is Eloise. She is an odd friend of mine.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if you can speak to birds with avian.
You can certainly try.
Okay. In avian, she's just going to say, "Hello, Eloise."
And it kind of like just kind of pokes into your head a little bit with its beak, not like hard, but like kind of just like gently, just trying to like feel around as to like where your head stops and where feathers, like where it's only feathers. And she kind of continues to trot around a bit for a little bit, and then flies back onto Narcissa's left shoulder.
She reaches up and gives her a little scratch.
She's very pretty.
Thank you. She's a fine rose hawk. I brought her from my homeland in the Plateau of Cinders.
Like, she just starts excitedly scribbling down in her diary notebook. Met another tiefling. This one has a beautiful hawk with her.
And if Mickey would be willing to hear, Narcissa will tell her about like the Plateau Cinders and kind of stuff. That weird shit she's seen.
Oh, absolutely.
When you live in basically a demilitarized zone, you see some weird shit.
Oh yeah, Miki is absolutely up for hearing any stories that she can write down.
So Miki, over the course of a good 30 or so minutes, you pulled up a chair at this point, and Narcissa explains to you that she's from a place that is known as the Plateau Cinders. It is a very strange area in the desert, which a rift to the Nine Hells has been opened up and stays open consistently. And demons and devils, as well as their offspring, who choose to forego and forsake the war, can go there. They are met with a myriad of different people in terms of places that they could go to, as well as other bands that they may choose to join up, such as mercenaries, caravan traders, and the like. They are screened, and they are essentially questioned for being allowed entrance into this mortar. It is also explained that the Plateau of Cinders is consistently monitored by many different military forces in case something were to occur that is essentially an invasion as a precaution.
Right.
However, no such acts have been committed in quite some time.
Okay, and
Should
like,
tell her about like seeing like like maybe just like an imp occasionally just kind of wandering about buying groceries and how kind of weird that is.
So, while this conversation is going on, Annabelle, you are sitting inside the bar talking to. I would imagine you probably went to the bartender in order to converse.
Sounds about right.
As you step up to the bar, he kind of nods to you when he's making sure that a few of the kegs that he has prepared for the evening are properly tapped and ready for usage. What can I do for you?
Well, huh? I was just kind of curious. Any interesting news on the local word? Kind of new in town.
Let's see, local word around here. There might be some. There might be something. Currently, the prince is going to be crowned king soon. He's going to be taking over for his father. He's going to be stepping in.
Oh,
Indeed.
is that a local monarchy or?
Aye, that's actually the presiding ruler over this city as well as the surrounding forest. The royal family presides over all cities and towns and townships that reside within the boundaries and borders of the burning forest here. So anywhere where the leaves are orange and auburn, those are their lands.
Well, come early winter time, I imagine that makes their lands expand quite greatly.
I mean, we don't really get winter here, but
That's fair. I have noticed that things seem to be a little bit off around here in terms of that. But a christening, huh?
indeed.
That's mighty interesting.
The prince is currently out and about. He's before he gets crowned, he asked that he could take a bit of a, I guess you could call it a wee bit of a vacation before getting crowned and having to stay within the borders of his homeland.
Well, I imagine that makes sense. Gonna be tied down to a place for so long, you might as well take a gander around before you sit yourself down.
He's also made it quite a bit of habit of talking and kind of being amongst the common folk as opposed to many other kings and royal type do.
Always a breath of fresh air whenever one of them decides that. Doesn't always work out perfectly for him, mind you, but gives him a bit of perspective, I might say.
He kind of leans in a little bit closer, and he kind of looks around, and then he turns to you. I hear he's actually been, what have they been saying? I hear he's actually been looking to change quite a bit of how laws and rules governing his territories are. And some people actually are not quite a fan of that.
And she's going to lean in a bit as well and just sort of. Now, are we talking like laws for the mercantile folk or laws for the common folk in terms of who he's intended to benefit?
It's from what it sounds like, he's been more inclined to help out us commoners. That's the reason why he's been going out and about on the regular streets. And from what I understand, I think that's also why he's probably going on his vacation. He's trying to learn about different people and things, culture-wise, to try and make some things be a bit more equal around here, which is a nice change of pace.
Well, bless his heart for trying. I know it's not always easy in political system to revolve it around the crown. I mean, I know nobility, and I know some of them are not fond of the common folk. Well, fond of their coin, but not fond of their words. Well, hopefully he does well. I'd hate to be new around here to hear about his attempts and only later on hear that he's not doing too well.
Well, I can tell you one thing: he's got the support of most of us. That's for sure.
Well, I'm sure that'll do him right as rain then.
But in terms of news, that's really all I've got at the moment. Trying to think. Most of the other big things going on in the town is, if memory serves me correct, I think there was mention of a carnival at some point, but I can't really remember when exactly that was supposed to come through.
Carnival, you say, huh?
Carnival, something along those lines. I can't really remember exactly which one. I think it was a circus.
Oh. Well, stuff like that's usually pretty hard to miss, so I imagine once it decides to rear its head, we're all gonna know.
That's probably true. Anywho, that's really all I've got at this point in time.
Oh,
and-
you never said his. She's leaning in again. You never said his name.
aye, the prince's name. Thorowil. Sauron Thorowil is his name. Memory serves me right. He's next in line after his sister went missing. But other than that, that's really all I am aware of. So,
Alright. Oh, and since I'm also a bit new in town and also recently applied for a sort of, I guess you call it like a working visa? One of those
yeah,
applications.
I had to fill out at the gate.
Yeah. I don't really know. They sent me this way, but they didn't really tell me how to inquire about what type of work I should be looking for, or at least where to look for it.
So the way that works is you and probably the rest of these fine people inside of this here establishment are going to be staying here up until the point where they actually come by and have a job ready for all of you. What they usually end up happening is they kind of group people together as much as possible. It's also possible that you might be getting shipped off with a few other people from different establishments within the area. But I think this might be it for you, actually. These folk around here. Which, if you don't mind me saying, and he kind of looks around at everybody, you got a weird batch. A very, very weird batch.
Well, I've been in this part of the country for only a few days now, and I've seen a fella that you might not expect to be doing so well for society, doing a great job, and people riding owlbears, so I'm kind of expecting the weirdness at this point.
Oh, the owl! Aye, those are actually the Autumn Guard. The Autumn Guard, protectors of the royal family.
Guessing they're riding full force since the prince is doing his wandering.
Aye, they are specifically trained to handle and essentially they. I'm actually roll to see how much he specifically knows about these people. They those owl bears you see them ride actually, they have them from birth, so kind of got a bit of a personal bond with them, if you know what I mean, in terms of that. But aye, they ride around those and make sure that anywhere that the royal family is going to be, no trouble is going to happen. Because I imagine you probably wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of the owlbear's face.
Well, I've never rightly fought one of those, but fighting a bear's not super fun, and an owl is terrifying in its own right, so shoving the two together in some strange sort of matrimony is gonna definitely make it an interesting fight if you've got to face one.
I'll let you in on a little secret. And he pulls his shirt to the side, to the left of his collarbone, and you see down his chest a little bit a large scar, and the middle portion of that scar is probably a good 2 inches wide, and it looks like claw marks. Nasty pieces of work they do.
Well, my oh my. Scandalous. I'll keep that in mind, hon.
Best you do. Anything else you need?
Well, honestly, I'd love a meal. I have been eating nothing but trail rations for the last week almost.
Alrighty. Meal from, I imagine the voucher you probably would have gotten. Alright. You want to, if you take a seat, I'll have it out for you in about 10 minutes.
Thank you kindly.
Not a problem. And he kind of goes off into the back to start some cooking. At this point, let's see here. What would you like to do then, Annabelle? As you kind of look for an open spot.
I guess she'll just look around a little bit and see whatever table is open. Or, there's already 3 people sitting at the table with Narcissa, Miki?
Miki.
Yeah, Narcissa, Miki, and
Torgrum.
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 Torgrum. Okay. So I don't know how big these tables are per se.
These tables are fairly big. I would say a lot of them could fit at least 4 people. The one that they're specifically sitting at is a corner. So 2 of them are in a booth, and then one of them is sitting on a chair. And
I'm sitting right next to Turgrim.
There's a space
Oh.
right in that back portion if you were to go over there, I would say.
Well, I'm not gonna snuggle right up to folk I've never met before, so I'll probably just sit in one of the closer by tables. Doing a little bit of eavesdropping, but at the same time leaving myself open for conversation should one of them want to engage.
Okay. As you begin to make your way over to your seat, you hear a bit you hear a few thudding footsteps on the wooden porch that's outside of this tavern, and a door opens up, and you see a man dressed in some very fine-looking leather armor. It's not to the point where it's uniform-like. You can tell that there has been a little bit of wear and tear on it, but it is still very well kept. And the helmet that he keeps is to his side, and he has a what appears to be a long sword sheathed next to it. All right. I'm supposed to get 5 people from here, and I think I can already see them. Okay, he glances about at all of you.
Oleg just stands.
Narcissa is just gonna give him a look like, what are you talking about? The 5 of us that look the most odd here.
Yes, I am.
I literally just ordered food. Darn it.
If anyone wants, they can roll a perception check because he mutters something under his breath.
Well, I want to roll a perception
Oleg
check.
probably would. Oh, damn.
15. Ooh.
19.
Yeah, give me a minute.
16.
21.
Torgrim.
Just give me a second.
I'm just cheering for you.
Rip me!
You all pass. Good lord. As he As he looks around at all of you, you kind of get a sense that he's trying to say this quietly, but he doesn't. This is gonna be.
This is gonna be what? You kind of
This
cut
is
out.
gonna be good. Sorry,
Okay.
I said it a little too quiet.
Torgrim kind of raises his eyebrows suspiciously, as if he has a problem with all.
I narcissistically get up and just start laughing, but yeah, you got that right. That is going to be good.
Very well. All of you follow me. We have an appointment that we must keep.
Oleg picks up his staff and just starts following him.
He holds.
Narcissus got all her shit.
Annabelle's gonna walk over to where she saw the kitchen door, just sort of call her, but just to get the attention of the person back there, just, sir, I'm being, escorted away right now. Maybe wait for the food, I suppose. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Thank you.
Torgrim stands up, grabs his bag, make sure everything's in there. Straps his great axe to his back.
Mickey gathers her things up. Like, looks up at Narcissus and goes, I've only ever met one other tiefling so far on my journey, and, well, he sounds like this. And she, like, as she's saying he sounded like this, she imitates the voice of the tiefling she talked to. Like,
Are you gonna make me try and do this? Are you
no,
gonna make me try?
I can do my facsimile of the voice.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know what you want to say. This is gonna be impossible.
She, and like in crap, I've been
His.
yeah, in his voice, she says, he sounded like this. I can't do the accent very well. Sorry.
I assume I recognize that.
Yes, you do. You recognize it. That is the tiefling you met a couple of days ago, a few days back.
You met him too.
Oh, you met him?
Yes, and I kind of tapped the little crescent moon bauble that's hanging off her horn. She kind of like tapped the crescent moon bauble that's hanging off her horn. I got this from him.
Oh, I got like she pulls her sleeve down and shows off the little the deep blue bead that she is now wearing around her wrist. I think I got this from him too. I don't know if he gave it to me or it reminded me of him, and it was on the foot of my bed when I woke up.
I guess he gave you some blue.
Yeah, I didn't get to thank him for it.
He disappeared on me too. You don't want.
Yeah. He was real nice, though.
We might want to keep pace. We don't want to have the others angry with us that we're gonna fall behind.
Oh, yeah.
And when the sister stands up, she is very.
Mickey's used to everybody being taller than her.
And she wears boots that go up to her knees that have slight kind of studs on them with a little. Okay,
Andy, you
Glamour.
keep cutting out.
Hold on. My face is right.
Grip Pandy.
How are we now?
Better.
Are we good? Good.
Yep.
Good. I'm just gonna follow the other group.
Mickey's following as well.
Torgrim is following them.
This man, who is a human, is holding the door open for all of you. And as you all proceed to exit out of the tavern, you are met with the sounds of the busy streets of the city. And at this point in time, you see it's around 3:30 in the afternoon. You see quite a few people who are out on the streets, purchasing goods, making their way from one place to another in order to drop something off from work, so on and so forth. And you begin to get led towards the large castle-like structure that you've seen from a distance. However, as you proceed to make your way closer to it, it's certainly living up to the expectation that you've seen. As you begin to make your way forward, there are fewer and fewer just people wearing common clothes. There are now people who are wearing very vibrant and well-formed robes. There are people that are wearing what appear to be kind of fancier ceremonial garb. Some of the guards even look a bit more prominent in position. You can definitely tell that the guards in this area, are no longer wearing the plain leather armor that you would see. They're now beginning to wear more so metallic armor. And you also see a few that are wearing that same color of almost rose gold like armor that you saw prior. The person who is guiding you kind of turns back to you. All right, you five are going to be meeting with one of the city's more prominent officials. So, if it would be recommended that you will be on better behavior, but I would imagine you have all at some point spoken with someone of some prominence, so you know how to act.
Alex just standing there. He's, just not
Yes.
quite standing at attention, just standing straight and waiting.
Nurse is standing with her hands behind her back. The tail is looking like it's going like a mile a minute a bit.
Torgrim kind of chuckles to himself at the guy's words.
Nikki's just kind of standing there, is like nodding along and holding on to her backpack straps.
Alright, well. So, I will go inside and make sure that they are ready to see you. But up until then, I would recommend just staying put. And he begins to lead you. It almost looks like you are making your way to go inside the large castle-like structure. However, you begin to take a left turn, and you begin to notice that you are making your way towards a large bank-like structure. There are multiple columns with the slanted roofs, and in large letters at the very top of the structure, you see BFT, which it stands for Burning Forest Trust. And at this point in time, we are going to take our break.
Oh, thank God, I need to pee.
No, sorry. I just wanted to get you guys to the place you're going to. Just wanted to get you there quick. We went a little bit further in the tavern than I was expecting, so sorry about that.
Sorry.
Nothing for you guys to apologize for.
Okay, well, with that,
I feel kind of bad for being quiet during the whole conversation between Narcissa and Nikki, but like again, Torgrim kinda he don't care.
Hey, you're just playing your character how your character would be. That's all there is to it.
I mean, Oleg
If
has
Nikki
stories,
were-
but he doesn't want to talk about them.
Well, I mean, if Nikki asked, he'd probably like tell her, "Yeah, I'm from there,"
Right.
Where he's from, his family, and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
other than that, he's just gonna like sit there and listen. He doesn't care.
All right, but we're going to take a quick bio break, everyone. So I'm gonna mute my mic, and we'll be back as soon as everyone is back at their seats and ready to proceed.
Sweet. Actually, I'm going to mute myself for a second too.
Okay. Hope you're
Feeling a
having
bit
fun,
calmer?
chat. Yeah, a little. But hopefully I'm gonna do this next portion. Good.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
I think we're just waiting on Small now.
How is everyone liking it?
It's fun.
Yee!
So far, so good, my friend.
Oh, by the way, for reference, that's what his staff looks like.
I think you guys are going to enjoy this next bit.
Oh boy.
Captain!
Now I'm scared.
Sorry,
Her
my
sister's gonna
dog's,
get herself in trouble.
my dog is whining.
I hope I'm doing all right with the whole separation between character voice and actual voice.
The
Oh, yeah,
accent
you're
helps
doing
quite
fine,
a
man.
bit.
The higher pitch helps as well, man.
Yeah.
It's still just a little shock because I know you for being like one voice and now, oh Lord, here he come.
Oh Lord. Well, I tell you then, she's coming.
Oh man, could have
Yeah.
a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, Miki's voice is definitely very different from the voice I do for my character on the Thursday game.
Mm. And Olex's voice is a lot different from my other broadcast character as well.
I hope everyone's having fun.
I am.
Mm.
I
I'm
got a
enjoying it.
snack. Got some more drink. I'm
Captain.
sorry.
I've been chugging water.
Captain Buddy,
Oh.
what's wrong? Hang on a sec. My dog. I'm checking on him.
Okay.
I'm almost halfway through my 1.5 liters.
Captain, what's the matter, buddy?
Mm.
Are you just cold?
Does the pepper need a hug?
Nah, he needs his blanket. The struggle of having a short-haired dog in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult.
That's okay, buddy. You just stay curled up in your blanket and you'll be just fine. Doesn't help that he's also blind, so he can't see his blanket sometimes, so I have to bring it over to him.
Yeah.
Aww.
Alrighty. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Or, well, I am.
Yeah,
So we have
I'm good.
Anthony's ready. Andy's ready. Z is ready.
I'm gonna get me.
Cut out. Z cut out, I think.
Yeah.
I think he was asking if you could give him a minute.
Oh,
Right.
gotcha. Yes, my baby.
I'm on push to talk. I didn't cut out.
Oh, got it.
My tooth hurts.
Well, stop hitting it with a hammer.
Listen, I would pull it out, but it's also my front tooth, so if I'm missing one front tooth, then I look very weird.
You just have to ask for it for Christmas, my friend. Heck, you could lose another one and still ask, and you should be fine.
Ooh, I don't think I can play. I don't think I can play my characters anymore because they have a very heavy list.
Are we all set then?
Mhm.
You. So, as you all proceed to make your way up the steps to this large bank, and you enter in through the large wooden doors, the person escorting you opens it up and holds it open for everyone. And immediately as you make your way inside, you see this very large open room, and you see that there's 3 stories. Have the main floor, which has a lot of people at desks and different, essentially, teller windows speaking with people about their accounts and such. You see on the next floor up, you can actually see above it because it's just a lining, essentially, balcony all the way around. You see people who are from what it appears, inspecting items made out of different shining metals. Some look like they are gold, some look like they are silver. And on the third floor, it looks a little different. You see some people that are using scales. At this distance, you can't quite make out what they're weighing on each side. However, there's quite a few people doing these at all the desks that they're on.
Just given her practice or any of these materials things Annabelle recognizes.
Mm, I'll have you make a perception check if you're trying to look at the higher up floors in order to figure this portion out.
Meanwhile, Miki's just furiously scribbling away in her notebook.
I kind of want to make a perception check on the metals and what they're making.
Alright. Let's see, so Annabelle got a 15, and then anyone who wants to can roll
Alright, I'm gonna roll.
to attempt to look at these things.
Narcissus is just trying to play it cool, but looking to see if she can maybe, if it comes down to it, swat any of them with her tail if they start talking a little too much.
Dermot's just curious. Sorry, not fuck. Oleg is just curious. Sorry. Oleg's just curious, so he's just gonna look around and see what he can see.
Okay. I'll wait for everyone to do their perception checks in order to properly give out the correct information.
Like he's not specifically looking at the top floor. He's just looking around.
Ooh.
Yeah, Miki's pretty well just looking around as well. Just basically that perception check is to see like what kind of information she can jot down in her notebook.
Okay. So let's see. We have 15 from Annabelle, 18 from Torgrim, 16 from Oleg, and 21 from Miki. So you would all pass. So everything that I'm about to tell you, all of you these.
Except for me.
Except for you, yes, because you did not roll. So
Yeah.
At the bottom floor, you do notice that the things that people are probably trading back and forth in between both workers as well as patrons to this bank are merely things like gold, silver, and copper pieces. Some people are exchanging some copper pieces to get silver. Some are trying to get some gold out of their account, so on and so forth. On the second level, you see people that are shifting around different what appear to be items made out of the same things like gold, copper, and silver, and the like. A lot of them look to be different forms of what you would appear to be like treasures. There are some goblets and the like that are made out of pure gold, inlaid with different gems, and there are some what appear to also be art pieces that are being inspected and notes having taken on them. From what most of you presume is to denote how much the craftsmanship and the quality of work would be worth. And then at the very top floor, as you are all making your way inside, you notice these people are dealing in raw gems. You see a lot of very small gems, but then there's the occasional large one, probably about the size of someone's fist. And they're kind of putting them on different trays and balances to kind of gauge the weight in terms of worth for these items. So, the person who was escorting you has taken their leave, and you are all kind of just standing at the doorway at the moment. It appears that they are making their way further down, and then they hang a right, go around a corner.
Oleg could probably just follow, assume.
Yeah. I just follow. We're supposed to be following him.
Yeah.
He's gonna take a little bit of a look around and sort of note all that stuff down, but he's at this point he's just focused on I'm supposed to be somewhere for a job. I'll go there. I'll take a look at this later, sort of thing. I'll take a proper look around when I get a second. Is basically what's going through his head.
Okay, so Oleg, you go and follow, and Narcissa, you said you would follow.
Yeah, I'm following right behind him.
Nikki, Torgrim, and Annabelle. What do you three choose to do?
I take note of like the gems and all the things in the room, but I keep following.
Alrighty.
Resist that dwarven urge to grab it all.
Dwarves love their goddamn.
They're like magpies like that. They love their shinies.
And then Annabelle and Mickey.
Annabelle right now is mostly just keeping a little bit back, keeping an eye on things. Since none of this is super pertaining to her craft being a potion maker, she's not wanting to like draw in too close to examine anything.
Miki's just kind of looking around at everything, looking down her notebook, scribbling, looking at something else, scribbling down another note, like maybe attempting to draw some pictures of what's going on. Basically, she's just taking notes and stuff like that.
As you all begin to proceed in terms of following your escort, you began to make up the distance. You kind of closed the distance. You've all kind of made your way around that corner. And he's actually what appears to be waiting in line behind two kobolds. And kobolds are both of reds. They are red-scaled kobolds, and you see them. They're wearing actual clothing. No shoes. However, they're wearing what appear to be your standard affair, like bank teller suits. And they're actually fairly well clothed. One of which has a pair of glasses on his forehead, on his snout. And they're just kind of standing there waiting patiently, and he's standing behind as well.
Are we supposed to wait in line?
He turns around. Actually, yes, we are. Your first-time employer does not like it when people are too late or too early. He prefers them to be on time, and we have a little bit of time, I believe. And as he says that, the door opens up. Another kobold walks out, nods to the two that are standing in front of you, and then they proceed to move away, leaving you all to be able to go in. And you hear from the next room, "Next!"
Alright, I'll go in.
Walks in.
I suppose that's our prompting.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like.
Alright.
Annabelle's gonna look down at Mickey just like, oh, I did not notice you before.
I get that a lot.
Well, you are just right plumb adorable.
Oh, thank you.
Oh god.
The man escorting you kind of gestures for you all to make your way in first.
I go in.
Annabelle goes in.
Torgrim follows Narcissa
like-
because, like, that's the only other person he knows.
mean,
This is my tiefling.
This is my safety tiefling. I will stay close.
Like how Ms. Rima is with Velshal in our Curse of Strahd game.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Miki follows in as
This
well.
is my emotional support tiefling.
Your emotional support tiefling.
It's like how at the party you have to have the one bold friend to make sure you know what's happening.
Yeah.
As you all,
Wait, that's a
as you
thing?
all-
Shit.
Sorry.
No, sorry.
Oh, you're good. As you all proceed to make your way into the room, you notice that, much like the open room kind of feel that you had initially entered into, this room is very open. However, it only has one occupant, and this occupant is very large. You see a red dragon sitting inside of this room.
Ooh.
Oh, ooh,
One
Okay.
of our Just reflexively reaches for a hand axe. Just
I
like
t-
starts to curl down to it 'cause
Yes.
he's got no idea what the fuck's going on.
Annabelle's eyes are sparkling.
I was gonna say, the second I see him like go for a weapon, the tail's kind of.
And Torgrim's eyes kind of widen, seeing a dragon. And with like, the dragon isn't probably gonna easily.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have changed before calling you in. Give me but a moment. And as he says this, he begins to
I don't mind if you stay this way.
begins to shrink down to the size of a somewhat taller human. He's a couple inches actually taller than you, Narcissa, with your boots on. He now is wearing a very very dark pair of black trousers, as well as a black vest, and his skin almost goes to a very how shall I say, almost goes to a very strawberry color.
A little bit like the Red Guards, maybe?
Correct. Kind
Okay.
of like the Red Guards. His hands retain almost the draconic claw-like features, and you see from his fingertips, kind of going up to his forearms, scale melding into flesh. And then his facial features mimic that, where a little bit of scale kind of runs down his neck, and his hair becomes very vibrant red, and it's about down to his shoulders. Ah, there we go. So sorry about that. I hope I didn't scare anyone.
Nope.
Not scared at all.
Oleg's hand's gonna sort of reaching for a weapon and just sort of he's gonna lean on his staff.
I'm going to roll to see if he notices that, and he does. I wouldn't worry. I don't get overly angry, so there's no need to worry. You can remove your hand from your weapon. Oh,
It's just reflexes. More a lack of any other exit than anything else.
good. That will serve you well on this journey. Andreas, you may leave us. And the guard kind of bows and then proceeds to make his way out. Please, have a seat. And you see this dragon, now in the form of a man, kind of flick his hand up, and you see 5 chairs, all proper proportion in terms of height to all of you, sitting now in front of his desk. Please, have a seat.
Are they all like wooden chairs or?
Torgrim squints at the chairs and notices the one, proportionally correct for him, and kind of sits down while still squinting.
I do have to ask, is Minky's chair like a booster chair where it's got the little ladder on the side? Or is it just a really small
It's a very small chair. However, what you notice is these chairs are now in front of his desk. And that chair would only come in up to about, at most, 2 feet, while she'd be about 2 feet while sitting. So it's a little confusing.
Mickey's still gonna sit in the chair that's her size anyway.
As you sit down in the chair,
do you have
as
to
soon as
ask?
Yes.
Okay. Is it like just a normal wooden chair with like no hole in the back, or is there an actual hole in the back where I can put my tail through?
There's a hole in the back for yours.
Okay, good.
Mickey, as you sit down in the chair, it raises you up. So now you are off the ground. Your feet are dangling, and you can see over the desk.
She just starts
Are
kicking her
there-
feet.
Are there arms to these, or is it just like wooden chair, like wooden back straight down into a seat and then just onto the ground?
Wooden back straight onto a seat. However,
Okay.
he looks at you and is a little. Is there something off? Something?
No. I'm just looking at it. He's probably gonna pick it up, turn it around so that the back's facing the dragon, and then just sit on it like that.
Alrighty.
Because you're cool, Grandpa.
No, it's protection in case he gets attacked.
joke.
He's got something between him and the fucking dragon.
So,
Anyway.
He's not used to dragons, alright? He's just like...
So has everyone taken their seats?
Yeah.
Yeah, Annabelle just sits herself down, hands on her lap, proper meeting with the fairy style.
As everyone begins to take their seats, he kind of sits back in his chair, one foot across his knee, and he kind of folds his hands in, so they're kind of making the almost tent shape. And he kind of like taps his fingers together. Alright, so this is the crew that I have assembled for the job then. Oh, I suppose this will work. So, out of the bare... let's get the bare introductions out of the way. I am Tor, and I will type that out for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I am Tor, the Gold Counter. And unless... if it is not already apparent by what I am and where I'm working, I am head banker and proprietor of this establishment.
Well, you can definitely...
Did we actually see what this is?
Sorry.
You cut
Yeah.
I said, did we see what this is?
Did it again.
Yeah, you cut out again.
Did we see what this establishment was called?
Yes, Burning Forest Trust. BFT.
I could probably just look at him after he says that he's the owner and just, well, you can definitely pay then.
Indeed. I know the exact amount of gold that is kept within the facility here, and I know the exact amount of gold that is currently out in circulation.
Sounds like a heck of a thing to keep track of, but I imagine it ain't too hard for a dragon brain.
Oh. But once you get about my age, it becomes just a habit.
It's fair.
Which leads me to the job I have for all of you. What were your names again?
Oleg.
Narcissa.
Togrum.
I put all my papers, so my name is Michelle, but I go by Miki.
Alright, I will make a note of that. And you, young lady?
Annabelle, but you can just call me Anna.
Very well then. So, Oleg, Annabelle, Miki, Fulcrum, and Narcissa. I have work for all of you, and it would be best completed in... shall I say? I will not give this to be a timed form of assignment, but the sooner done, the better.
Yeah, he mentioned me.
So, and he kind of pulls out a very large and kind of beaten up leather journal. It's probably about the size of, actually, Dargrim, it's probably about the size of your chest. And he flips it open with one hand. And there's a
Like
loud...
5 foot across.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
dear
loud...
Lord.
There's a loud resounding thud as the other cover hits the desk and begins to flip through the book.
It just reminded me of when you go, oh, it's the size of his chest. Just reminded me of something I'd heard once. It's like, oh, that's not a very tall person to have guarding you. What, 5 foot across the chest? Sorry.
No, you're good. So, as you would probably be aware, many of the different townships and cities that are under the jurisdiction of the Burning Forest have a lot of their resources as well as funding come from here. Say the town needs a new tower built for a residential wizard, or say they are hoping to be able to afford getting some roads fixed in their general vicinity, and the like. We are the ones who deal with the money when it changes hands. Now, one town that had been paying its taxes on time has gone dark. Every time we send someone to investigate or try and figure out what's going on, they do not come back. I have sent a few of my workers, the kobolds, in order to potentially try and figure out what was going on, as the town purveyor has usually kept in good standing with us. However, they haven't been coming back, so I am now resigned to having to send people with that are better armed to go over and check. And he kind of looks at all of you, and he actually looks towards you, Mickey, and you are armed, correct?
Yes,
He has a twig.
it's a quarterstaff.
Don't be
It looks like a-
rude.
I'm kind of surprised that's not being said towards Annabelle, considering as far as the outwards appearance goes, she's not carrying a weapon at all.
He has given you a look over. He's given all of you a look over. He just make a perception check, Annabelle. I would ask.
Damn.
He's been going fairly well tonight.
Yeah, your rolls have gone
Don't say
very
that.
well. Annabelle, you've kind of taken as he's been talking, he does glance over to you, and he does actually glance down to where I would imagine your let's see here. I want to make sure I'm getting it correctly.
Her satchel?
Yes, your satchel. He's been kind of glancing to that, and he also does notice the dagger toward your hip. But he's been glancing more so at your satchel. And every time he kind of looks, it almost seems like his eyes kind of flicker as if he's casting a spell, which you would probably presume to be identify, considering you have magical implications with you.
I know that spell. Yeah, the satchel's just sort of sitting beside her feet at the base of the chair.
So then, the town I need you to go to is called Valthaya, and I will also type that name out.
Thank you.
Valthaya. I would ask that you go there, meet with their purveyor, and either figure out why they have stopped sending whatever taxes they have collected, or at the very least try and recollect them. Now, I will say this, you will not find any trouble trying to collect taxes. Everyone there understands this, because it also helps pay for essentially the guards that reside in their town. And among other things, sort of protection that we do provide for them. So, it should, if anywhere, be within the mayor's quarters. Not that hard to find, I would imagine. So,
And question:
yes.
what if we get there and say just everyone's dead?
then try to figure out why everyone's dead. I'm very curious as to do and he kind of just looks to you with a little strange look. Do people just die? I'm sorry, but do people just kind of not? I'm a little confused.
When you come from the plateau centers, a lot of things can happen.
Oleg just sort of gestures to himself and his scars, just like, where do you think I got these from?
People die all the time.
Well, yes, I'm aware that people are dead, but if an entire town is dead, that is
Disconcerting, to say the least.
very
A bit
common.
unusual.
All of those, yes. Anyhow, if you would be able to go there, recollect the money that is needed for their taxes, you will be rewarded, as well as you will be able to get hired out for more lucrative and better paying jobs later in the future.
Oleg's just gonna look at him and just be like, well, that's well and good, but we kind of need a name. Can't really just rock up to a town and go, oi, where's your mayor?
Yeah.
Mayor Thilven.
Or maybe a letter.
Mayor
That too.
Thilven shouldn't be hard to find.
Is he an elf?
He's a very rotund dwarf.
So
And when I
Tavern, you might get along with him.
And when I say rotund, I don't just mean, a bit of a beer gut. I mean, you could literally tip him
He's
over
fucking
and
huge.
roll him around, yes. You could roll
Oh,
him
that
around
sounds
like a
fun.
ball.
Reminds me of someone I travelled with.
Like Miki just kind of laughs at the description of how fat the dude is.
Torgrim looks at him with curiosity. Because, another dwarf in this area. Oh boy.
In terms of reward, because I'm willing to wager that you're all dying to know what you're going to get out of this. Depending on what this job itself ends up putting you through, you will be paid in a different variety of means. So, the base pay that I can tell you right off the bat, and he opens up a smaller pocketbook-sized ledger, and he kind of flips through it with a finger. How does 1,000 gold each sound to you for base payment?
Oleg coughs. Just
So does Narcissa.
Sounds about right.
Torgrim's eyes kind of
sounds-
sparkle at the mention of gold.
That sounds lovely.
Wonderful.
Annabelle's gonna kind of look at the rest of the party, who seems to be kind of taken aback by this, and then probably realizing the fact that she might be the only one who's done or at least sanctioned city work before, and like missions.
oh, Oleg's done all that. He's just not used to being paid that much.
Yeah.
Well then. And
Alex-
this is- Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. No, I was just gonna say, like, Oleg's just gonna look at it and go, that's all well and good, but you have something that we could take with us to prove that we work for you.
Indeed.
Yeah, we are
We
an
don't
odd
exactly
bunch.
look like your other staffers, do we?
Oh, I have many people in my employ, not just kobolds, but quite a few others. Anyhow, I do have something that will show you, that will give you certification, as well as act as your contracts. And he kind of takes his hand, runs it over the blank portions of the desk that each of you are sitting in front of, as he moves his hand away. Each of you have a piece of paper sitting in front of you. These are
Okay.
going to be your contracts. As soon as you sign your names at the very bottom saying that you agreed to take on this job, everything will get set underway. It will also track the progress that you've done throughout this job. Say you go to the town of Valthaya, and Thilven has, for some ungodly reason, been captured by a bugbear or a Goliath or whatever have you, because that man has. He closes his eyes and just kind of. You can roll insight checks as he's about to say
Okay.
something.
Alright, I wanna go for
15.
6! What?
Natural 20!
Oh, yeah!
16.
Well, I have shit insight.
So, let's see.
You're just thinking about the gold.
I damn right I
thinking
am.
about the gold.
I want that gold.
So, Torgrim, you're just thinking, there's gold involved.
That's 1,000
Good.
gold pieces I'm getting. Mm.
Yeah, you're just looking into this contract. Oleg, Annabelle, Narcissa especially, and Mickey, you notice that he's been kind of he's been calm throughout majority of this conversation, but as soon as he starts talking about, as soon as he just says whatever Thilvin mentions Thilvin in terms of him getting into something, you see his horns kind of grow upward a bit, and then like a little bit of fire kind of tinging from his mouth. He's gotten into some trouble a couple times. The horns kind of slowly move back down, and the fire kind of recedes. If for some reason he's gotten himself into some form of trouble again, and you fix that trouble, you will be paid more, and potentially paid in different ways other than monetarily. Annabelle, as well as Torgrim, I know you two have been looking into getting in good with some of the guilds that are around here. That can be arranged. Narcissa, and he kind of looks over to you, and he kind of points to Eloise. I do have a few birds of my own, and they have told me some interesting things. And I'm sure, Mickey, he immediately looks to you, I have a few stories that you would be so inclined to enjoy.
You guys see immediately as just Narcissa takes Eloise off her shoulder and actually kind of holds her in her lap and starts petting her.
At the mention of stories, Miki just eyes get big smile on her face.
Much as I might like a bit more of renown with the magical menagerie, I also wouldn't mind potentially, and excuse me if this might sound a bit rude to ask, but as a potion maker myself, I know for a fact that dragon scales can be a powerful reagent if you happen to have a few you shed over the time being here.
Actually, as a sign of good faith, and you see him hold up his left arm, and kind of going down towards where his elbow is, he pulls one off. A very small one, the size of what would be a guitar pick. And he kind of puts it between two of his middle and pointer finger, and he holds it out to you.
She reaches out and take it. Same starred eyes she had when she walked into this room originally.
Anywho, I can give you all a bit of, shall we say, a little bit of a prepayment. He holds out in his hand 5 small sacks of what has some, from what you can tell, coin in it.
Torgrim kind of leans in. How much is in them?
Each sack here contains 75 gold pieces. A little bit to kickstart your venture, so that way you have money to pick up any supplies and the like on your way out of town. And if there is nothing that you can access here within the city, well, I would imagine you've all come across different towns or the like on your way here. So, and he kind of pulls out from his jacket a map of the surrounding area. And he kind of points out the neighboring cities, and I will actually type out the cities closest on your right there. He outlines that the time it's going to take you to get to the city of Valthia is about 5 days travel, and that's at like a comfortable pace with no horses or anything like. Give me one moment. So the cities that I am typing out, they are going to be in terms of how close you are to them right now, to Valthaya.
So what, like that city, then the next, then the next, then the next, sort of thing?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he points out, Steel Harbor is the closest city, Nolvat is next, and then Milvo is the last one before you get to Valthaya.
You were Justin? I was just in Steel Harbor.
As was I.
So was I.
I didn't stay particularly long, but I did pass through there myself as well.
Yes, a popular little township it's become. We are working to get it, how should we say? We're working to get it to be a bit more of a bastion for travelers, let's say. So, are we ready to sign our names on the bottom line?
I have one question.
And I have an answer.
I'm sure you do. Does it require a full name? Or would perhaps the first letter of your last name be enough?
Just the name you wish me to address you by.
Wonderful. Just writes
Yeah.
Oleg on it.
Having heard that answer, Miki will write out Miki instead of Michelle.
Torum, being a little cautious, kind of looks it over, making sure everything is in order for signing Torum at the bottom.
So you're looking for anything in particular, or just trying to
Loopholes, exploits, red flags.
You
Same.
can roll an investigation.
Annabelle's a guild artisan, so she'd be doing the same thing. Always got to double check the.
11.
Oh, you got lucky.
9.
Is that everyone who wanted to? Is that everyone?
Oleg's just gonna sign. If he gets dicked over, he gets dicked over.
Miki doesn't know to do that, so she's just signing her name.
Okay, so 2 have already signed.
Narcissus is
Narcissus-
looking at him a bit distressfully. So,
Yeah, you're still a little apprehensive because there's a dragon in front of you.
also, he knows about Bird.
Yeah, so that's kind of cause for alarm. You're speed reading. You're not taking your time. Torgrim and Annabelle, you do notice that in terms of the portion where it says that you would get you would get a little bit more. You would get better in with your guild. It mentions that if you complete the bare basis, it does not have to entail that they're going to give too much to you in terms of a little bit more renown. But they're still going to mention, hey, you did proper work. It more so mentions the more you have done in terms of fulfillment of this contract, the better word they'll put in with the guild, and potentially even better services they'll give you afterwards. And then there is also the portion of if this job is failed to be completed, no word of your activities will be given.
Alright. Well,
So
after
basically, sorry.
checking everything through, Torgrim signs his name.
So basically, it's a case of where if we do good, they'll give us the good word, and if we don't do good, they'll basically not say anything.
Yeah. They won't
Well?
tell them, hey, this person messed up. They'll just not say anything.
Well, I'm supposing if we fail, that's only one strike against us, I'm guessing. She's saying that to the actual dragon fellow.
In terms of strikes against you, it's not so much that. It's more so we don't. The prince doesn't like it when we give bad word of people. Say, for instance, there is something that they cannot control in their efforts. It is not supposed to be a strike against them. The way this is set up is if you do well enough and complete your contracts, you will get rewarded. If you don't, well, be it you choose not to, or, well, plain and simply, you die. He kind of shrugs as he says that. Then nothing is going to be said.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, alright then, I guess I'll just sign this. I don't see any reason not. And she signs it as Annabelle with the MM.
Alrighty. As soon as the last person signs their name, your
Which is
contracts-
Narcissa.
Yes. Your contracts all begin to glow slightly. And then they begin to fold in on themselves into a half sheet, quarter sheet, eighth sheet, until it's the size of a very small post-it note. And then it vanishes. Well, the contracts have been signed. The gold is in your hands for prepayment. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are now able to be on your way, if you so choose. You can feel free to peruse around the city. A few of the locations that I would recommend you going to, in order to maybe either sell off items that you choose not to bring with you, or to maybe purchase a few things to aid you on your way. Three main locations. The Mage's Elixir will be able to provide you with some potions, so long as you have the coin. If you're looking for a different weapon or so, the Forge Fire is going to be your best bet. And for general purpose items, the shop is called the Beggar Holding.
Clever.
Oh shit, sorry, my printer just turned itself on out of nowhere and it scared the shit out of me.
So can we say those shop names one more time?
Yes.
Forge
I've
Fire,
lost-
Mage's Elixir, and Bagger Holding.
If you need me to type them out, I definitely can. Anyone need them typed out or no?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Got 'em written down.
So, before anyone leaves, would you like a drink at all?
I would.
Not if it's alcohol.
Depends on what you're serving.
I don't know the drinking age here.
It's definitely more than 6.
I'm 20.
He's latched onto it. He's not going to give up on it.
I know.
You'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. Most people can start drinking under the age of 16. In terms of the harder alcohols, that's best left until 18.
Narcissa will just chime gently about Ola and go. So I actually don't think you can drink. You can drink at all, even if you wanted to.
I do not drink, child.
Torgrim kind of pipes up. I wouldn't mind having a drink.
Very well.
Just make sure you don't spill it on me this time.
Oh, hush up. I paid you back with a bottle of wine.
I don't really feel like drinking. Could I just get some tea?
I think that could be arranged. Torl stands up, moves over to a cabinet that has a few different bottles of wine decanters, and he just kind of opens it up, kind of looking around, running his clawed finger over it. And when he sees one, he kind of flicks his finger back, and it moves out. It gets pulled out. Another one. gets pulled out as well. And then, let's see, Miki, you have asked for tea.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of leans his head back and looks over to you all like, what about you? Tea for you or water? Anything?
I just water, please.
Very well then. At this point in time, there are currently 3 bottles of different size, shape, and color that are kind of floating around near his hand. He walks back over to the desk you're all at. He takes his cloth, taps the ground, and a small kettle begins to just appear and float behind him, and he just kind of breathes a bit of flame underneath it to heat the water. He begins to pour different liquids for everyone. For Narcissa, it looks like you have received very deep red wine. Torgrim, there's a very dark, almost black colored, what smells like a type of rum.
Oh, sweet.
Fuck yeah.
He pulls the tea kettle, and it's not like he's trying to hide it. He just grabbed the kettle. He's like palming the kettle and just pouring. And the kettle is still fairly warm. He's still just like pouring it into the cup for you, Mickey, the tea. And it has this faint smell of lemon to it, and he kind of hands you the cup. And then he turns to Annabelle. Anything in particular that you would like?
I'm always a fan of something interesting. Try a lot of things when you make potions, after all.
Very true. And you see from the cabinet behind him, he flicks his finger out, and a bottle of a very small bottle. You would imagine like a very small. Imagine like the cap to a NyQuil container, like the little measuring cup that comes with that. One of a small container that size floats over to him, and he hands it to you.
Yeah, she's going to take it, internally gawking at how cute and tiny it is.
And then in front of you, Oleg, he kind of spawns a small goblet of water.
Sort of half bows in his chair.
And he spawns one for himself as well. I usually don't drink while I'm in the dragon. Does not matter to me if others choose to as well. And he kind of holds his goblet up for everyone.
And I'll hold my goblet up.
Miki will hold
Same.
out her mug of tea.
I'll hold out my my glass of I already forgot what rum. Yes.
Annabelle will hold up her little shot glass bottle.
Alrighty. As all of the drinks cling together, he drinks his goblet of water.
I'll drink
Oleg
my
will just
wine.
down his glass of water.
Torgrim slams that rum down. Hell yeah.
Alrighty. So,
Roll con.
Annabelle, are you also drinking everything inside of your glass? Your shot glass?
So was I handed like a whole bottle? The bottle is just tiny, or is it like a shot glass that was on top of a bottle?
It is, so essentially think of a very small, almost a vial. He just gave you the whole vial, but it's the size of that little cup.
Gotcha, alright then. And does it have any sort of label on it?
It does
Just
not.
curious.
It does not. But it was in his liquor cabinet.
You know what? When a banker invites you into his home and gives you his alcohol, you're either gonna drink it and die, or enjoy it, or you're not gonna drink it and offend him. Since this is a dragon, don't risk offending. So, going to pop that open and
Yeah.
take deep
Chug my
swig.
wine.
Alrighty. I need everyone except for Oleg to make a con save, please.
I have tea!
I know.
Oh, wow, okay.
17.
9!
Rip.
give me one. I'm not used to roll 20 and how to
23.
do saves.
It's all that potion tasting, Annabelle.
That is basically what it is.
Hold on. Nate, you did not mention how to do saving throws to me.
Oh, sorry. So you
It's
essentially
right
go
underneath your
up-
proficiency bonus.
Yep, you go up into your sheet. You click on
Mhm.
you click on where it says saving throws. You click on the Constitution. You just click on the word.
Just click it for
You
now.
should have just said that. Okay.
Sorry.
19.
Okay. Give me
So Miki's
1
dead.
second.
Despite slamming that rum down, he's still probably gonna save himself.
Miki got herself some sour tea.
Well, he did say there was lemon in it. Or by the smell, it smelled like it had lemon in it.
So Miki,
Yes.
as soon as you drink this, you feel very, in a very serene peace, almost like you just had a very good meditation session. You get, you get advantage on all of your dexterity saving throws for the rest of the day.
Oh,
Bloody
nice.
Torgrim, with your drink, as soon as it hits you, you get the taste of you get hit back to the memory of the first time you snuck a drink out of your dad's bottle of whiskey. You essentially almost fell flat on your face after it went down your throat. However, as soon as you get a good drink out of this, you feel very warm. You feel like you're very sure of yourself now. You have that nice liquid courage. You now have advantage on all of your charisma checks for the rest.
Ooh.
Turns.
Oh my
Nice.
god!
Annabelle,
I feel good!
as soon as you drink this, your vision just kind of goes black for just
Oh,
a
no.
slight moment. And just like, as soon as you open your eyes, everything you're looking at, you're able to like kind of, everything you look at is, it's a bit weird. As soon as you look at the vial, you can immediately tell what this was. It was, sorry. What he gave you was the Intellectual's Elixir. This gives you advantage on all of your intelligence checks for the rest of the day.
Damn.
Interesting.
Let's see. So we have Mickey, we have Annabelle,
Narcissa.
we have
Mm.
Narcissa. As soon as you take a drink out of that very deep red wine, you feel a little more relaxed. You feel now that your goal and your mission has now I'm having a very hard time speaking today, if you can't tell. Your goal and your mission seem to have now found a nice kick point. You have +10 to your movement for the rest of the day.
Nice.
Put a pep in her step.
Indeed.
She's already a tall fucker and she already takes big ass steps. It's already hard enough for Torgrim to follow her.
How do you think the 3-foot-tall Kinku feels?
Don't worry, Torgrim. You're gonna be following me all day.
Probably. Torgrim doesn't give a fuck. Well, right now he doesn't really care about the rest of them. Because he doesn't really know them.
And Oleg, your drink was just water.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
You
no,
glad
hey,
fool!
hey, he doesn't drink. So,
I'm sorry.
no, what else? No, seriously, he doesn't drink, so I wouldn't expect something like that.
Well, I suppose it is time for all of you to be off on your job and assignment.
Well, that sounds pretty good, actually.
That sounds
By the
wonderful.
way,
best of luck to all of you.
Thank you.
Oleg's gonna stand and just sort of bow again, like almost as if he was facing like a sparring partner or something like that, just like respectful, and then just sort of turn and start to walk off.
Narcissa will take off her very nice hat and do a bow. With her putting on her hat and leaving with her bird.
Pilgrim cracks a small smile, bows in respect, and, says thank you.
And he gotta gives a nod to everyone and then looks over to Miki.
Will the chair go back down so I can stand up more easily?
Just jump.
As soon as you say that, it does not like it falls, but just kind of slowly moves its way back down.
Thank you. And as soon as it's where she can put her feet on the floor more easily, she will stand up and she will, like the monk equivalent of what Oleg did. That kind of bow, but like more so the like. God, I sound like I'm playing Griggles, like the proper 90-degree bow.
It's all good.
So I think that just leaves Annabelle for the moment.
Indeed.
She's going to just quickly turn towards him. So Toro, are these more of a personal thing, or are they more of a something you can buy?
And he kind of gives a small smile to you. I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
She just gives him a smirk, just like, well, I understand that. Maybe later, if I do a good enough job, you might teach me a thing or two.
Entirely possible. And he begins to lean back in his chair. Have a good day.
You as well, Tall. And she's gonna get up and join the rest of her party.
As the party begins to make their way out of the large room, you hear the sound of him changing back into the form of a dragon. You hear the sound of like claws kind of scraping against the floor.
Oleg's right hand just again sort of flicks down towards his hand axe, and then just sort of like doesn't actually grab it out, just sort of like it's like open on top of it, just and then just hand back up and keeps walking.
Alright, so is there anything we want to get before we leave the town, or can we head out and maybe get them along the way?
There
He
is
was a
perhaps
treat.
2 things I wish to do, and that is it. Well, 3 if you count grabbing my gear.
Anyone else agree that that fellow was a treat?
He was delightful.
It was interesting, that's for sure.
Miki is like vibrating with excitement, and like as soon as they would exit the trust, she just like starts bouncing around real happily, like, I met a dragon, I met a dragon, I met a dragon!
Oh! I did not think a little thing could make that much noise.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've never met a dragon before.
That's fair. Oleg's gonna look to everyone else and just be like, well, I have 3 things I wish to do, and that's including grabbing my gear. Anyone else?
I'd like to
Well,
check out this mage's elixir shop if we've got time.
That would be one of them.
I already
Just
got
for
all my
brevity, he
gear
based-
on me, but I wouldn't mind checking out the forest fire.
I'd like to go there.
Oleg literally just wants to stop in at the Mage's Elixir, maybe buy something, sell, and perhaps buy at the Forge Fire, and, well, actually, now that I think of it, he wants to grab some extra rations.
Mm-hmm. I'd like
So,
to grab
yeah,
some
probably just
extra
stop at the
rations.
3 stores and then grab his gear.
Mhm.
If they're on the way back, anyway. If
would
like if the tavern's the closer one, he's gonna grab his gear first.
I would
Presuming that like
say
if the
uh,
to.
the three shops are in close proximity to the tavern, where it would not take you guys very long to just hit all of those up before leaving.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, that
There's
just
a-
reminded me, Torgrim should probably pick up rations.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like 5 days travel.
There is a particular reason why these four shops were all picked, because they are very close proximity to the gate.
Okay. I think probably for I could probably just go back to the tavern first. Change into a shirt, like take his armor off, change into a shirt, and then just walk back out with his armor under his arm and just sort of make off towards the forge fire first.
Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna go there after him.
So is everyone heading back to the tavern first, or are we doing everything separately?
I think Annabelle would be heading straight for the mage's elixir.
Okay. So, I would like a quick count of who is going to the tavern first.
Oleg.
I think
Because he
Torgrim would
needs
like to
something to
go
shove his
pick
gear
up,
into.
pick up some like food and rations to go. So I think the tavern would be the best place to pick up some drinks and shit.
I'm gonna stick with Torgrim.
Alright, so that's 3. And then, where is Mickey heading?
Just kind of like probably go to the tavern as well, but not follow in. Just kind of, if there's a porch, just kind of sit on it and kind of watch the city and take notes in her journal and wait for Oleg.
Okay. So, as soon as you begin to make your way back toward the tavern, it takes about like a 5-10 minute walk to get between people. It's about 5 o'clock, 5:30 as you're all doing this. As you begin to make your way, I'll have everyone who's heading toward the tavern make a perception check, please.
Oh balls. 22.
24.
Good lord.
Trying to get my
Oh,
mouse to cooperate. Perception, you said?
Yeah. Torgrim, hi.
5.
Oh no.
I mean, she's just met a dragon and she's excitable, so.
You are also very small. You are also
Yeah.
very small, so you're seeing
Yeah,
like
that makes
people from
sense.
waists. Oleg and Torgrim, if anyone else wants to roll the perception.
Oh, well, I'm going with Torgrim, so
Okay.
4.
It's okay, Torgrim notices every.
Kind of just
Pilgrim sees all.
staring at the dwarf.
You are trying to make sure Torgrim does not get lost in the crowd.
I have my arms around him and I'm kind of crouching.
No, I feel like Narcissa would just like pick him up from underneath the arms and just
I'm just kind of like holding him.
observe! You perceptive little funky dwarf.
Torgrim and Oleg. God damn it. Torgrim and Oleg, as you're making your way toward the tavern, you see a familiar sight. You see guards wearing metal armor, the color of rose gold, as well as a few that are mounted on owl bears.
Oleg's just gonna step to the side again and keep going.
Torgrim does recognize these bears.
They're actually near the tavern, like in front of the door.
Oh.
He eyes them and
Tor-
Torgrim gets a little thought to himself. So, is the Lord stopping by? Cause they would have no other reason to be.
Torgrim,
Torgrim looks at Narcissa.
what is that?
Oh. I've seen these guards that were transporting the Lord back into the city.
Interesting.
Oleg's just gonna sort of turn and just be like, well, if we had to be on our best behavior before, we're definitely going to have to be on it now, by the looks of things.
Oh, you can never get me on my best behavior.
I already met the guy. I don't really need to change my attitude.
Well, I probably don't either, but I don't know if she has.
Met who?
The bloke who runs the place.
Well, no, I haven't, but I figured if he wants to get to know the common people, he should know how to act.
Well, yes, he's fine. It's his guard that's a bit twitchy.
Well, I'm not going to fuck with his guard because I'm not stupid.
I'm so confused.
I didn't say you were going to bang his fuck with his guard. More along the lines of just don't do anything that they would think is a threat to him.
Yeah, fuck with the guard.
I would imagine you're having this conversation as you're making your way towards.
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's not like
as also Narcissus is holding Torgrim.
Both of ya,
So-
please, shut the royal fuck up.
Oh, what,
Look,
laddie?
as long
You're
as
gonna
you
get down
don't,
off of her and attack me.
The
He's
underarmed
wrong.
dwarf says to everyone.
as long as you don't try to hurt them, shit won't happen.
Okay. I don't really want to hurt anybody, so I don't think I'll have a problem with that.
Torgrim kind of tries to look down at Miki, but like Narcissus is holding him up and just like, you'll do fine.
As this is
Just don't
taking
move too
place-
fast, either.
As this is taking place, you all make your way, and you are almost right in front of the door. However, one of the guards kind of holds his hand out and goes, "Halt! What business have you here?"
We stay
We
here.
live here.
Oh, I see. All right then. And he kind of steps away and kind of opens the door a bit. And as he does, you see three guards kind of posted throughout the room. One of which, those who remember, Felix, is sitting like he is standing at attention right next to the man who is sitting over a large bowl of soup and noodles and just eating the noodles
Yes!
at the bar.
Yes! Please, no, please tell me it's an extra large bowl of
This bowl of soup is very large,
Good! He got his extra large bowl
and
of soup!
he
Fuck
looks
you,
over at
Felix!
as he's eating. He looks over at the door, sees you, and with like a large thing of noodles hanging out of his mouth, he gives you a wave, and then turns back to his food and continues eating.
Is that supposed to be the king?
As soon as Mickey saw him wave, she's like excitedly waving back.
That's the Lord himself.
I did meet him!
I see you got his extra large bowl of fucking noodles.
Well, that's good.
Torgrim, I'm confused.
You cut out, Andy, I'm sorry.
It's
Said you were confused.
Torgrim, I'm confused.
Oh, we had a conversation. Well, I didn't have a conversation. Him and his little guard there, Felix. I overheard them talking about him wanting an extra large bowl of noodles, and Felix said no.
That's the guy I talked to. He's the one who told me to ask the tavern owner in Steel Harbor about the 5th of Gildergleam.
Am I the only one who hasn't met this man?
You seem to be the only one who hasn't met this man.
Oleg, I need you to roll a
Oh, shit.
wisdom saving throw as the
Oh,
5th of
shit.
Gildergleam.
I'm sorry.
Fucking thank you.
Oh,
I'm sorry!
I need everyone.
Session 1.
I need
Oh.
everyone, except for Oleg, to mute themselves.
To mute themselves or
Yourself.
deafen ourselves?
Mute yourselves. It doesn't matter if so. In terms of meta, you will not know of anything else that is about to be said here. But your characters won't know this, but it's fine if you hear this.
Okay.
I will say that. So everyone mute themselves, please. Once everyone has muted themselves in the call, I will begin to speak.
Except probably for Danny.
That's true. Well, actually, she can mute herself, but
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you meant deafen. Sorry.
Danny is muted. And then once he mutes himself.
I use push to talk, remember?
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, oh, Danny's typing something. I'm gonna wait until she's done typing. Let's see, you got a 5 on this. Okay. Oleg.
Hmm.
As
Yes.
soon as Mickey says the words, the 5th of Gildergleam, your vision begins to tunnel. Your eyes begin to just not comprehend what they're seeing. You see a moment where you're pulled back into darkness. And then you hear off in the back in your head, almost as if this very muffled sound is being played over just a record in the distance. You hear faint screaming. You hear the impact of metal on stone. You hear cries, the clanging of swords on shields. And you hear the sound of the item in your bag. And as soon as you hear that last bit, you snap back, and you see everyone else entering into the tavern. I need everyone else to unmute themselves.
Alright.
Okay.
You kind of blink a little quickly, Oleg, and then you're inside the tavern, as Mickey has just spoken those words, and you now as well see an elven man wearing like very common clothing, just not even like plain robes or anything, just like a shirt and pants. And he just has his face in a giant bowl of noodles.
Does
He's. Well, it's probably kind of because at that point, because of all that, his hand would have like gone to the dagger that's at his back and just sort of half started to pull it, and he's gonna put like sort of stop doing that, obviously, and just he's gonna look at he'd see Felix, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would see Felix, and as soon as Felix actually would notice that, he has stepped in front of the elf, and he has. I would like you to roll a perception check, actually, and everyone who is now seeing this unfold. You see the guard. Everyone sees the guard immediately go into a defensive stance.
Natural 20.
Fuck you.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
First session!
It's okay.
It's the first session that's happened!
Narcissus is very tall and tall to see from this height while she is holding him.
She's holding him like against her chest in like a bear hug sort of thing. Face outwards, you dirty pig!
What else did you expect me to do?
Miki, you notice this as soon as Felix steps in front of him with his hand going toward his sword. You see the prince immediately put something on his hand. And it looks very different because the item is a gauntlet with fingers that look like they are sharpened. And he stops eating. He just kind of glances over to the side.
Would
I mean,
Mickey...
Oleg I would point
Mickey-
out that like he would have been putting it back in, like his hand would have just been behind his back, and just like sort of sliding downwards again. Like it's not like he's got the dagger out and then putting
I
it
know,
away.
but as soon as your
okay,
hand
yep.
goes behind your back, the
Right, okay, yep,
because
yep.
we don't know what you're grabbing, and
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Narcissus is confused and
yeah, you are confused at this. Oleg, you also noticed this, but Togrim, you and Narcissus have no idea.
I'm actually gonna step in front of like Oleg because like I'm not sure if like this dude's gonna charge at my new teammate or whatever. So
Like
Oleg's just gonna sort of.
with
he-
that...
he-
Sorry.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, with the natural 20, I'm guessing Miki noticed, like, everything of that after she said those words.
You notice everything, but you specifically notice the prince put something on his hand that looks like It is sharpened. Oleg, you did not see that. You only saw Felix
Yeah,
step in
yeah.
front of him. But Miki, you
Yeah.
saw that portion.
Oleg's just gonna sort of not quite push past Narcissus, just sort of step around the sort of look to Felix, sort of casual salute with the hand that was behind his back, and just walk up the stairs. Like but he's shaken. He's very shaken.
As you pull
Can
your
I
hand back,
find him
say again?
then when he goes
Mhm.
up? I was gonna say, can I trail behind Oleg just to kind of make sure he's okay? After, like, oh, a dude just pulled out a sword at him, and it's like, okay, this sounds a little weird and disconcerting for my own taste.
Yeah, you can do that.
Torgrim just kind of like looks at Narcissus as much as he can, you know, being out her torso.
No, I set him down.
Okay, because Torgrim wants to get rations for the travel.
Mickey, you were exclaiming something.
She's just kind of like making worried noises.
As soon as Oleg begins going up the stairs, Felix kind of pulls back from his guarded stance, and you also see Mickey with that natural 20. I'll grant you this also. The prince pulls the item off of his hand. It is, you can definitely tell, it is a sharpened fingered gauntlet, and you actually know what these are for. These are what some of the Tensei monks will sometimes use as weapons.
So something that Scarlet would have trained in.
Yeah, you saw her using those to put it bluntly, devastating effect. And you see a pair of them actually on his hip, the man's hip. And then Torgrim, you just hear. As she goes into your shoulders.
Can I notice since Miki's making all these like nervous and like, you know, she seems really anxious, can I like notice that? Like look at her?
You can definitely do an insight check.
Alright.
I would say just use my passive deception.
21! Hell yeah!
Oh yeah, you see it.
Yeah. You can tell the little bird is actually shaking.
So Torgrim looks over to Miki and, are you alright?
Yeah, I just, maybe I shouldn't mention that anymore, though.
Kinda like ruffles the top of her head and like nods in understanding.
It's like frustrated owl noises.
Well, come on, we got rations to pick up.
Wait, you have to buy rations? I just...
We do get 2 free meals, but it's gonna be a 5 days travel.
You don't forage?
I mean, we could, but it's always best to have a little bit of backup in case you don't find anything.
Oh, well, true, but I've had very good luck in finding things myself.
Well,
Miki has the Outlander background.
oh.
Bollocks.
Well,
I'm so sorry,
It's
Jack.
No, don't be sorry. I liked it.
well, better to safe than sorry.
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll just pick up a couple, and we can forage. How about that?
Annabelle.
While Oleg's having a mental
Yeah,
breakdown.
Oh, like, are you okay?
Annabelle,
Yes.
you were wanting to go to the Mage's Elixir, correct? Hoping to go there at some point.
Yeah, she essentially broke off from the party as the rest of them were heading towards the tavern, since she didn't really have anything left at the tavern to go towards the Mage's Elixir.
Alrighty. You arrive at the Mage's Elixir. It's a fairly simple little shop. The the sign that is hanging above the doorway is of 2 potions uncorked and a little bit of purple mist coming out with the golden letters of Mage's Elixir being produced from them.
She gives a little bit of a nod to the showsmanship of their sign before heading in.
Alright. As you head inside, I'll have you roll an intelligence check with advantage as to when you begin to enter in to see if there's anything in particular that you notice in terms of your 20. Very nice.
Damn.
As you make
This
your way-
girl's smart.
Indeed, she is. As you begin to make your way inside, you notice your commonplace items to make health potions and the like. However, you are beginning to notice a few more specific reagents. One's kind of like the things you found on your way out, and you recognize a couple things that seem to be similar in that one shop you made your way through. Actually, not shop, the Mage's Tower you went to. You see that same blue moss with the red plant coming out of it. I think I remember seeing moving inside that man's place.
Wasn't that the thing I was very specifically told not to touch?
Yes.
Man, I'm so curious about what that is.
You see what appear to be also some decently sized. They almost look like bat wings. However, they're blue and they are very, very large. And you see a couple of them plastered to the side of a wall. And then, as you make your way in with that roll, you also notice the person behind the counter. You know what they are. They are a turtle.
Oh, interesting.
It looks like an elderly one. He's very wrinkled, and he's got very small spectacles on his nose. Can I help you?
Crystal.
Oh well, just came looking. Place came on recommendation, so I was real curious about what you got in here.
I've got all sorts of things. And as you notice as he moves, he's a little shaky. He's not really able to stay still. And he kind of takes a very large clawed hand and kind of points at the different shelves. I've got your basic potions as well as a few others for specific needs. Is there anything in particular you're thinking of using or needing?
Well, getting ready to head myself on a bit of an adventure. Yeah, straight from the gold counter himself. So,
Counter. Oh, him. I see.
yes, maybe just some general purpose healing potions, and I'd be real curious to see if you just got anything you find interesting in here.
Well, I can definitely do those healing potions for you. As well, I'll just show off a few things that we found a bit interesting. Let's see here. Patrick! He starts calling out to the air. Patrick, where'd you go? And you hear a voice in the distance.
What? What do you want?
Patrick! We got a young lady here who is in need of some interesting items. Show her what we recently got in.
Fine. Keep your glasses on, old man.
And as you hear that, you hear a very strange, I will not say creature because that is not what they are. You see a construct that looks like they were built based off of a unicycle. Kind of roll his way out. And he's kind of got like a tray built out from his chest with a few different potions on it.
I imagine the old man's talking about you.
Well, unless he's seeing things I'm not seeing, which to be fair can happen sometimes. I know certain folks can see extra things. I'm pretty sure he's talking about me.
Okay, that's a good question. Did you take your medicine today?
He kind of leans over and speaks to the turtle. Wait. And he begins to like patting himself. Wait. Yeah, I think I misplaced it. I'll go back and grab it. And he kind of begins to walk away, and as he moves out from behind the counter, you notice he doesn't have any legs. And he's just kind of walking still, somehow, with his cane, and is like pulling himself forward, and he's moving to the back room.
Wait, so he doesn't have legs. Is he like floating, or is his
Yeah,
shell just sort of like scooting on the ground?
He's floating. Where his legs would be is just clearance from the ground, and he's just pulling his cane forward, pulling himself, putting it forward, pulling himself.
He's basically rowing himself through the air. I love
Kind of,
it.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
he
it.
He's basically got an anti-grav device in his shell, just.
Well,
The construct looks to you.
Yeah, he's gonna be doing that for the next hour and a half. Anywho.
I'm supposing you're probably the main proprietor of the shop, then.
Yes, I'm not the one who takes an hour and a half to go to the bathroom and then come back. So yes, I'm the one who does most of the selling. He's mainly here just to make sure, well, inorganics can't go to the marketplace.
Ah. Well, that's perfectly fair, I suppose, though honestly it seems a bit unfair for you.
No, not really.
And he kind of looks down. Last time I went outside, a couple kids decided they wanted to throw a stick in between my spokes.
This poor
Oh, well, that's just rude.
Yeah, it was. And now they're turtles.
I don't
Well,
get from children.
well, as long as you don't get in trouble for it, I don't see any reason not to show kids the right way sometimes.
And he kind of rolls in front of you a bit further.
No, it only lasted for an hour. It was funny though.
Yeah, it's still the right way.
They got borkied.
Yeah.
Teach them respect for the magical folk. Anywho, interesting things?
Alright, in terms of interesting things,
He proceeds to hold up 3 different potions to you. One of which looks to be a swirling green liquid. Another one looks to be actually a very small pink gemstone. And then the last one is a scroll that you can easily tell.
alright, so the fun things we have here today are
He points to the green one.
this is a potion of acid splash.
Alright then. Is it a bit like alchemical acid, I suppose?
Indeed. Essentially it takes the properties of the spell acid splash and just, shall we say, puts them into a more concentrated form.
Interesting. So how much would something like that run me? Because I will admit I've been curious about such things. Minor enchantments and basic spells.
That would cost you about 30 gold pieces.
Oh well, and that's not too much. I might consider that.
Alright. He points over to the pink gem.
This one here is a special thing,
And he kind of turns his head 180 degrees and just kind of looks back at the doorway where the turtle is still making his way to. He moved at most an inch in the amount of time it's taken for you to have this conversation.
yeah, our esteemed benefactor over there made.
And then from the turtle, you hear, thank you. He's still moving.
God.
Such a jovial fella.
This is a gem of bonfire. It will be able to produce. You will not have to chop any wood. You will not have to use any tinder boxes. You place this into the spot you want the fire to accumulate, and it will produce it. And it can do this one time every day, and it recharges every day.
Oh, well, that's nice. So it's basically like a useful thing for cutting down on weight in the camping pack, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, if you throw it at people, it's funny.
Well, I can attest that throwing fire at people is pretty fun. She pats her alchemy satchel.
That one's
All
gonna
right, well, oh, yep. I was basically just going to ask what you were getting ready to say, so yeah, just go ahead.
Okay. That one's gonna cost you 60 gold pieces.
All right. And this last thing over here?
This last one. That's right.
He kind of is looking at it a little confused, actually.
I'm actually not exactly sure what this one is. Old man, what's this one?
He looks back to the old man.
That one.
That's a scroll of... Actually... Oh yeah, that's the scroll of calling lightning. He turns around and begins to make his way back toward the back room again.
Yeah. The scroll of call lightning.
So it's just a spell scroll.
Indeed.
Alrighty then. Though I do practice a bit of magic, I'm not particularly of the arcane sort. I make potions, that's about it. So, not particularly interested in that one. I would be able to make good use of it.
That's fair.
But this Gem of Bonfire seems pretty interesting. That it can work once a day and just put it down, it activates. Guessing it has a command word.
The command word is just simply ignite.
And as he says that, it begins to glow, and he's like,
No,
no!
not now.
And as soon as he says, no, not now, it just fades and stops.
That's great.
I will keep that in mind. Wait, so did it start doing that when he wasn't holding it as well?
Yes, it started to, but as soon as he snapped at it, it stopped.
Oh, great, it's sentient as well. That's not going to go wrong at all.
I can already see funny things happening with that.
Oh yeah.
I've
gonna-
lost
I'm up for-
5 praise to this stupid thing. I'm not losing anymore.
Alright then, well, in order to make sure you're not going to lose anything else, I'll definitely take that off your hands for you.
Wonderful.
So you said that was 60 gold?
Correct.
Well, I'm also wanting to get a healing potion. How much does a standard one of those run here?
Standard one costs 30.
Oh, that's a little bit cheaper than the market price I'm used to. Though then again, I guess the market price I'm used to is marked up by city markets, but those are always fun. Inflation and such.
Oh, isn't it a wonderful thing?
Always. 60 and 30, that would be 90. Any chance I could talk you down to 80 for the lot if I buy both?
Roll a persuasion check.
So 14.
And he looks at the old man. The old man has currently fallen asleep.
Is he just like lazily like bouncing in the air slightly?
No, he's just kind of floating there. It's like, you know, on the
Oh,
street when you
God.
see those monks or those people that are like sitting in the air cross-legged with while holding onto like a metal pole. It looks like that, but he's just in the middle of the air.
How about the 80 and I give you something that might wake him up a little bit?
how about we bring it to 75 so that way I get some peace and quiet around here?
Oh, well, I certainly don't mind a little bit cheaper as well.
Very well then.
So, go ahead and take out that 75 gold.
Awesome.
And as you put the gold on that tray, the two items begin to float towards you.
All right, she'll just take them in hand and put them into her bag.
Alrighty. I imagine as you acquire these items, you begin to head out.
I mean, she's gonna just look around a little bit more because she knows that her companions are going to be showing up soon.
Okay.
So just sort of take a look around the shop just a little bit more, see what else might be curious, and then maybe look around the actual area that's around the shop.
Okay.
But she's basically just, since she knows that her group is coming here, she's gonna wait for them.
Alrighty. As you begin to kind of look around the shop, you notice that the construct goes to the back room, and you hear a dragging sound, and you see him dragging out a mattress. And he pulls it right so it's like right underneath the turtle where he's floating. So if like he falls forward or he falls backward, he's gonna hit the mattress.
Aww.
That's mighty considerate.
And then you see him starting to pull different things off of the shelves. You see a little cane. You'll see a small hat, like a top hat. You see him kind of like putting them on his body. He puts the top hat on the turtle's head, and then he puts the cane underneath his other arm. And then you also see him, for some reason, produce like a mustache you would find from a disguise kid. He slowly begins to put it right under his nose, and then he wheels himself into the back room, just kind of holding his hands out,
Oh,
like,
God.
okay, I'm gonna leave this here. I'm just gonna leave.
Just slowly backs away, just
Yeah, he
hands out to the
slowly
side.
he just slowly backs into the back room.
I'm going to
Fucking
take
amazing.
one of the sprigs of sharp mint, so those green rose-like flowers, and just gently tuck it into the top hat.
And as you see this strange little incident going on and make your way outside of the shop, that is actually where we are going to end our session for tonight.
Okay. That was fun.
It was. We got to know each other. Narcissus being a creeper and following, just totally not gonna get her killed.
Yeah, totally.
Miki accidentally triggered Oleg, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. Thanks.
It was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah,
I
it
get-
eventually would have been nicer if it hadn't, happened in the tavern. But sure, no, it's gonna be fun. Seriously, it's gonna be fun.
I hope everyone had fun.
Oh my
It
God.
was
Yes, I did.
amazing.
It was
I
so
love
good.
Yes, I
Morgan
did, man.
so much.
I already want another session, but because I want other things. But like, this is okay. I can wait till next session.
I just can't wait to get into an actual fight with all these characters. Amazing.
Yee.
So what did everyone think about our robot friend?
He
Fucking
sounds
hilarious.
amazing.
He's great.
I liked him.
He reminds me of Nine
Good.
and Log a bit.
I made him essentially this cynical brother of Log
That's
in unicycle form.
That's great.
Which, when I heard that, I was putting on like Oragel to like one of my tooths, and I
Those
could, yeah, those things, and I had to like pause myself because I was laughing too hard.
Alrighty, so that is it for session 1 today then. I'm very excited for the road ahead.
Yee.
I am also very
Definitely.
excited.
Oh, someone's burning something.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not your
that's
husband trying to cook, is it, Danny?
No.
No, that's my brother. I'm gonna. God damn it! Give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn. Okay, so you can't hear it now, can you?
No, we
You
can still hear it.
it.
That's alright, I don't mind.
We're at the end of the session, so it's not so bad.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna mute myself, but I'll be right back. Y'all can get ending things out of the way. I'll be back shortly.
Okay. But yeah, and I put in my notes after that, don't mention that date around Olek.
I mean, yeah, or at least fucking warn him first.
We need to get him some earmuffs.
Yeah.
We need Oleg some earmuffs.
Yeah, especially because as part of being a lore keeper, Miki has to practice storytelling.
I can't mention it, but I need, since Annabelle seems to be more of like person who knows about magic and magical items and stuff. I'm gonna have to ask her a question next session.
What about your
to be
best friend
fair-
over here is magically inclined?
Well, I'll ask both. I'll gather you both together, and maybe Miki, because she seems to know a lot about lore and stuff. That might be a little useful for the origins. Other than that, I'm gonna need some magical people to help me answer my questions.
I have advantage on all intelligence-based checks right now, so if you want to ask me questions about magic, probably now's the time.
Yeah, that's also the thing. You have advantage for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
But I can get you around faster, so
You right, you got that extra movement. And just use me to charm. I got a charisma check.
no, I think with Narcissus 18 charisma, she'll be fine.
Even before
mean-
that one.
Fair enough. I mean, I have 14 charisma. That's not bad.
He's just grumpy.
I return.
He's a grumpy boy.
Well, DM, would you like to sign us off?
Oh, we've already done all.
Well, we were just kind of doing a little bit of just talking about what happened during the session.
In terms of signing off, I don't really know what to do.
That's okay. We're just I think when it comes to the out of character stuff, we're all just kind of flying by ear.
Mm.
Thank you, everyone, for putting up with my strangeness.
Knight, your strangeness makes the game that much more enjoyable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I
It's a
hope
lot
it
of fun, dude.
I hope it was entertaining.
Definitely.
Exploring the tiny oddities that exist within your brain is very fun.
There are many, and they get weird. They get weird.
I'm looking forward to it.
Same.
You have yet
So
to
am I.
experience the crawling clown horn.
Oh no.
There's a thing in this world where crawling claws will sometimes find clown horns for no reason and just hold on to them. And then squeak them sometimes. I'm not kidding.
You're just casually
that's-
walking through the forest and you hear a
That's where I'm signing off for tonight.
Okay. Everybody say bye to Andy.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Andy.
Yeah, she has a thing about clowns.
Yeah, so
No, like she's.
Actually.
Yeah, she does. I accidentally scared her one time when I did a reading for her and a few other people.
Note to self.
Oh, when you were reading
Mm.
Mr. Tickle Twist.
No, behind the scenes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Note to self. Do not
Warn
make clown
Andy.
villains.
No, just make them, but warn her so she's prepared.
Gotcha. Oh my god, now I'm thinking about killer clowns. Ah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, nice.
Oh no.
Yeah.
All right then. So I think we should do a send off for the stream.
Sure.
If anybody
Mm.
has anything they would like to shout out, or like if you have other streams that you're in or just would like to promote, go ahead and do so.
I'm part of. What's she going by now? I'm part of another Tuesday game earlier on in the day. Over with Tired Vampire and a few other people. I play a Potato Mancer who totally did not manage to bullshit his way out of being attacked by a ancient black dragon today. Nat 20 for the win.
Nice.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for me at the moment. Work gets in the way mostly.
I mean, we of course have the Thursday game, which will be happening this week, I assume.
Hopefully, if everything goes well, if all the players can make it, and if DM doesn't have anything come up.
Yeah. So hopefully you'll all be seeing, all of our wonderful viewers will be seeing us again on Thursday. Myself, Candy, Danny Boop, people who are not here, including Armored, Dark Savior,
And
and
Mythosia, the
Mythosia.
DM.
Our wonderful DM who intends to utterly destroy us this coming Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. So
Yeah.
look forward to it.
And
Ugh.
I try to get the stream going around on Thursdays around 7 p.m. EST, but we usually end up starting more around 8 o'clock EST. PM, that is. So.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't have any particular announcements.
As soon as I am able to use the Wi-Fi's, actually probably tomorrow at some point. As soon as I'm able to get my new computer tower up and running, because I got a new computer, so I don't have to deal with the stupid laptop anymore. As soon as I get that up and running, I'll be streaming more stuff. I don't know if I'll be streaming very long tomorrow, but Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I will usually be streaming stuff. I might do like small stream tomorrow just cause celebratory stuff, but yeah.
Yee. Captain, calm
There's
down.
a book. Well, alright. If that's all, I think we should all just say our names once more, give our send-offs, and tell everyone that we'll miss them.
See ya.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Night night.
And we will see y'all next week. Hopefully around the same time. And session 1, Mickey already fucked up.
No, I wouldn't call
be
it that.
fair,
I wouldn't call it that. It makes it more interesting.
Yeah, I guess.
To be fair, you did not do anything wrong.
And Mickey
Yeah,
is
no, you
very
didn't.
excitable and would probably not know that it would be a bad idea to throw the name of that day around.
I got potions for even cheaper for simply talking, I suppose.
Because the construct did not want to wake the turtle up.
Fair enough.
It was great.
Alright then. Well, hope you all have a great night, and we'll be seeing you on Thursday, and again on next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.